Bismillah.
Bismillah. Hi everyone, welcome back to WYP. I'm back again with Mr. Moaz. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, how are you doing? You okay?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. This one's a big one for me. Big inspiration of mine. I wanted him to come on here and spread the knowledge that he has and the experiences that he's had in his life. So yeah, listen up, enjoy what he's gonna say, and yeah. First of all, obviously you want to present us with your journey and whatnot. So whenever you're ready, Moaz, you can go.
Perfect. Just put me on the timer so I don't end up waffling. Firstly, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be on to have this conversation with you, and obviously to give a little presentation as well. So I'm just going to present on the journey from almost age 16, if you like, till now. I'm giving away my age, but yeah, there you are. And again, I've been following what you're trying to do, so it's a pleasure one more time to be on this with yourself. So the journey for me started obviously like everyone, you play the game, the beautiful game, we enjoy it so much. And I was quite shy and reserved off the pitch, but on the pitch I was totally different, quite a leader, very loud, if you like that. So that quality was seen through my teachers, through the coaches I played under, and they pushed me towards doing my level 1. So that came about through volunteering, and then doing the level 1, and more volunteering, and do the level 2. Because as you know, when you're starting up, it's all about volunteering. It's tough to find those jobs where you're getting paid, And I put this picture up because this picture here, it reminds me of a moment which made me fall in love even more with football and really understand the joys of it. So the guy in the middle there, our captain India at the time, this was a Middlesex schools winning team. So we were 88th minute, drawing the game, going to extra time. We can see the goal. We're 2-1 down. He grabs the ball. Everyone's dejected. He grabs the ball, puts it on the center spot. As soon as that whistle goes, he hits it straight from kickoff, straight in. I've never seen that live before. And it's just moments like that just make you fall in love with the game, because the joy of it, seeing that was amazing. And then going on to extra time and winning it. And that's a quality team. They're really good players I played with, but sadly only 2 of them got opportunities to play at a level they should have. A lot of the Asian lads, they're really, really good players, but they just didn't get the chance. So the two lads that made it was the white boy in the middle, who played semi-pro, and so did the other black boy sitting down on the side. Yeah. Those were the only 2, but as we see even now in the game, opportunities unfortunately limited for talented Asian players. But yeah, so that's how I sort of started, and I got into the game, got into the coaching, and doing the level 2 came at a great time because it was my final year before university. I applied for Loughborough, got into Loughborough, thankfully. And then I had to make a decision. Do I play? Do I coach? And I applied for the coaching role and I got offered it. So I went with the coaching. And I didn't regret it, because it was a fantastic experience working at Loughborough Students Football Club. And I ended up doing all my years for uni there, progressing from the 6th team all the way up to the 2nd team by the time I graduated. What I had as part of my program was a straight 3 years, but between the 2nd and the 3rd year, this opportunity came up with Barnet when they restarted their academy, and they put it up, and I applied. I got accepted, but now I had to go and try and convince my head of department at uni, because my program was a straight 3 years. But she was amazing. She just turned around and said to me, look, if this is what you want to pursue later on, then yeah, go for it. So I took up the internship with Barnet for a year. It was only initially as an assistant coach to the under 14s. But 3 months in, digging my hand to everything, being open. I was one of them when I'd say yes to anything. So if they said, oh, can you do this? Yes. Can you do this? Yes. And there were days where I really regretted it, because I was there, some moments when I was there from 6 a.m. setting up the pitches and the pegs on the side and the respect barrier all the way right to the end, seeing the fixtures. But it paid off, because 3 months in, I got offered development centre manager just as I started. So I had opportunity to start a development centre from scratch. And also later on, I was assisting the under 18s, the 16s and the 8s and all the other age groups from foundation to pro development phase, if you like.
Quickly.
And it was fantastic, because I was learning from some amazing coaches, England C team manager at the time as well, sharing an office with him. And it was an environment where I learned so much, and I still have the books and the copies of the sessions that I did, and I still refer back to them, and they bring back a lot of great memories. So obviously, at the end of the year of the internship, Barnet were fantastic to me. They paid for my UEFA B, and I got onto my UEFA B. And it was great, because I went back to uni and obviously being able to coach at a good standard to be able to do UEFA B was very important. That sort of took me off to a period between 23 and 28 where I went back to uni, finished off the degree. The UEFA B got to a stage where I took the final assessment, unfortunately failed, and it was very depressing moment. Not only was I depressed, but I felt really hard done by, because a lot of feedback I got from my peers, a lot of feedback I got from the head of coaching, the academy manager at Barnet, who watched the sessions, who watched me throughout the course, and also the final assessment. A lot of people were surprised, and it's one of them where you feel dejected, don't you? So
did you ever sort of pinpoint what it was that made you fail, or?
Great question. I didn't really think about it deep enough, but what I did do, what I've been doing for ages, is I record the meeting, I record the one-to-one meetings that I had, and I went back over the conversation. But because I was getting so much other feedback from others, it was difficult to really understand what the assessor was, or not difficult to understand, but difficult to accept what the assessor was saying. So I went for a period where, like, oh, is this for me? Is this what I want to do, etc. In the end, I got myself together and managed to get the reassessment, and thankfully passed on the second time. So here I was with a UEFA B, graduated from uni, thankfully. And then what I really wanted to do was explore with an open mind and gain as many skills as possible. And initially the opportunity came with Brentford. I was applying at so many different clubs, and I remember emailing Stuart English at Brentford. I didn't know him at all, and he was amazing. He said, look, come in, let's have a chat. He gave me his time. He invited me into the stadium, had a chat, and wonderful person, really opened their doors and listened and gave me the opportunity there. But then 3 months in there, I saw a job advert for Arsenal Soccer Schools in Morocco. And like I said, I wanted to explore. I wanted to get out and see football in different parts of the world. I wanted to learn a new language as well, because I saw the qualities that the top coaches have, and languages was one of them. Thankfully, my mother tongue is Arabic, so I spoke Arabic and English growing up anyway. I lost the ability to read and write because I didn't maintain it, and I got that back when I was at uni studying for it. So here was an opportunity to go to Morocco, and I had to go back to Stuart English, who opened his door 3 months later, and say, look, I've seen this, I want to go for it. And he just turned around and said, go for it. If you learn what to do, brilliant. If you learn what not to do, also brilliant. And that just stuck with me, because I can go and I can learn and be better, but what if I go and I don't learn stuff that's going to help me? Okay, great, I've learned what not to do as well. So that's really stuck with me, and that's how I approach a lot of stuff now as well. Look, I'm going to go for it, give it a go. If it works, fantastic. If it doesn't, I've learned what not to do. During my time at Arsenal, a local club nearby, Wydad, massive club in terms of Africa. As you can see, they were the 4 stars, 4 times African Champions League winners, top club in the continent. One day, a coach from the club came over wearing his tracksuit, watching our sessions at Arsenal, and my translator, or the guy I'm working with, turned around and says to me, oh, look, there's a guy there in English. There's a guy there. He's here to steal your players. And this coach, who we thought was fully Moroccan, turned around with the best English accent. He's like, oi, I heard what you said. I know what you're saying. That translator's guy just went blue, red, everything. And then, funny enough, that started a conversation. I got talking to this guy, and I said to him, look, can I come and watch what you're doing? Because he was a UEFA A license coach from 2 associations. He had it from the English FA and the Welsh FA. Oh, wow. Working with the under-15s at Wydad. So I used to go and watch him after I finished at Arsenal. And what I also took the opportunity to do in Morocco was to learn French. I'd go every morning, every 3-4 times a week in the mornings, 3-4 hour sessions of French, come home, have some lunch quickly, plan my sessions, go out and do the sessions. And normally they're like 3-4 sessions in a row, an hour to an hour and a half, depending on the age group. And then straight after, I'd go to the Wydad session with this guy and assist. And my contract was initially 6 months. So I got so much in those initial 6 months. And then thankfully I got a renewal. So I stayed there for another year. And it was amazing because I was assisting at the under-15s. I was able not to learn French, but also now work without a translator, which was immense. Really fulfilling, really satisfying, being able to converse with the players directly, because it makes a big difference speaking to someone directly and understanding them as opposed to going through someone else. So the challenge after that was, okay, what happens next? What do I do? UEFA B experience. So I came back home, came back to England, and I approached Brentford again. I said, look, can I just come and watch? Thankfully, I was in a good position because in Morocco, the accommodation was covered, expenses to a certain extent were covered. So what I made, apart from spending on food and entertainment, I saved a fair amount. So I came back and I just did a few after school sessions, but I had so much free time. So got in touch with Brentford. This time was Ozzy Ibanja. Said, look, can I just come in and watch and observe? And it was brilliant because they opened their doors again. I was in there literally almost every day. Come rain, snow, sunshine, with my notepad, taking notes and observing. And I saw so many fantastic coaches working, like Jeremy Steele, who's now, I believe, in charge of Riga FC, who sort of have like a monopoly similar to the City Group monopoly, where they have quite a lot of clubs and they're in charge of. And yeah, it was amazing seeing the likes of himself and obviously Ozzy himself and the other coaches at the club. I learned so much. It was an immense year, if you like, where I just learned, and it helped me because the plan for me was next to try and do the UEFA A license. So I kept applying for that A license, kept getting rejected. There was no opportunity. So I had to find alternative solutions, you know, and the alternative solutions came in the form of non-league football initially. So I joined Southall FC as a player / assistant manager, playing step 6 and managing an assistant manager at that level. And that helped me in terms of my application. And I applied for it abroad in the end. I did it with the Irish FA because I got accepted there. And the Irish FA A license was amazing because they mix the pros with the non-pros in one course. It's not like where we do it here in England, where the pros have a separate A license and the non-pros or non-ex-pros have a separate one. We're mixed. So it was amazing seeing the likes of Teddy Sheringham, who I had images of scoring one of the goals in the 99 final, you know, being on the same course as this guy now. It was what an experience. And Tom Huddleston and a couple of others, Liam Rosenthal, all on that course, in addition to obviously non-pros. Great experience. From that, I got an opportunity to go abroad with Mirbat in Oman, in Salalah. What an amazing place to visit. If you ever want to go on holiday in the summer, search up Salalah. What a beautiful place and what a beautiful country Oman is. So here it was amazing because the guy I worked with at Barnet a couple of years back, he now took a role there as first team manager. He needed someone that spoke Arabic, needed someone that can speak French because the local players spoke Arabic, the pro players spoke French, and he needed someone who obviously had the qualifications and the experience to come out. So thankfully, I got that role with him. Went out there, had a fantastic experience working in French in the mornings with the pro players who were in morning and evenings, and then working in Arabic with the other players and experiencing proper professional level football abroad, if you like. That gave me the capability to apply for the A license with the FA, and I finally got accepted. So I'd finished my part 1 with the Irish FA and then got accepted. So I could have said, okay, I don't want to do it now. Why should I pay for another A license? I might as well finish there. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to learn from the experience. And it was brilliant because it opened my eyes up to the way I spoke, to the way I sort of analyzed the game. And what I went away with was this, with the Gopro. I bought a Gopro after all the different feedback I got. I used to wear it on my head, used to wear it on my chest, because on my chest, it would show me, I'd listen back to myself when I watch, I'd see my hand gestures, what I was doing with my hands. And on my head, it would give me the feedback. Okay, am I just following the ball as a coach? Am I actually looking there when the ball's there? Am I checking? Are my observation skills good enough? And that was a great reflection tool, watching back the sessions, listening to myself. Sometimes I was watching it back thinking, what a clown, what are you doing? I was people having poor reactions to players, but it was great for self-reflection, hearing myself and seeing myself and seeing what was going on in the pitch as well. And that really helped me to progress with the A license and achieve the A license initially from the Irish FA at the end of 2015. And then 2 years later, I finished with the English FA as well. But what happened then was obviously things change, life changes, got married. This little man came along, and you start to think about stability a little bit more because it's about family life. I'm no longer that life where I can just up and leave to any country or whatever. So I took the route of education because when I was in Oman, I did a little bit with the British school as well. I did a little bit there for just a term, but it helped me get into the school side of things. And then after that, I took up a PGCE with Sunderland Uni. And at the time, I was moving over to Saudi Arabia. So I managed to get a role with the British International School, teaching PE, a little bit of French to primary school and supporting the English lessons. And this opened up another avenue for me because life changes then required stability, and education and school gives you stability. And also the frustration with not being able to get up the ladder back here home also played a role, in helping me make that decision. Okay, do I need to look somewhere else? One thing that really sort of brought me back, I guess, was this desire to be a coach developer. And I'd spent 6 years with Arsenal as an international football development coach, working all around the world, delivering coach education courses in various parts of the world, from Africa to Asia. And it was an amazing experience because we were going to places where coaches didn't have many resources. I remember in South Africa, kids making a ball from newspaper and sellotape. I remember seeing also in Zimbabwe how they used to do strength and conditioning with broken chairs and getting their squatting technique by standing in the middle of the broken chair and things like that. And I just thought, wow, how resourceful are these people? And what are we doing? You know, we've got all access to resources, whether physical resources or intellectual resources, and we're not using them. And here's all these people doing this. And then I went to China and it's the opposite. They have so many resources, but then they're lacking that experience in the game and lacking the people to sort of guide them, if you like, towards football. And it was fantastic. And educating more coaches, I enjoyed, because if you educate more coaches, you're basically impacting more players. So if I go in and I coach a team of 30 players, I impact 30 players. But if I go in and I do a FA level 1 and I coach 15 and I educate 15 coaches, those 15 coaches each have 30 players, for example. I'm impacting way more players. So that really resonated with me. And that's what sort of made me want to come back and apply. And what really caught my eye was the application for the tutoring role with Middlesex FA as part of the FA. And it was this advert, you know, talking about the modern tutor, focusing on quality, developing someone who develops themselves, someone who values feedback, someone who collaborates with high expectations. You know, those things, when I was, no disrespect, but when I was going for my level 1 and 2, the tutors weren't like that. It was this way, do it this way. The FA education model is very different now. It's quality. It's about you as the learner, and it's about getting you through. Whereas back in the day, we felt like UEFA B was about how many people could they fail, not how many people could they pass. And if you're uneducated, it doesn't make sense. If you're educating people, you want them to get through. You want to support them, which is how it is now, thankfully. So I did that a little bit, and obviously that came in between my experience abroad in Saudi Arabia, working with Ettifaq Club, one of the top 6 clubs in the country. I initially went there in charge of 16s and below, so youth and foundation phase head coach. Developed it from not having an under 16s and anything below, finishing it with under 8s all the way to 16s, and also having a development center. So that experience with Barnet allowed me to really understand, how do you incorporate a development center into a club? How do you give players opportunity to be, okay, they're going to get released at some point, or they're going to be deemed not good enough at some point. So where do they go? Do they just get released and unfortunately suffer consequences, like we saw, unfortunately, with the Man City lad who obviously took his life after getting released? So having a development center offered a lot of the players, when they were deemed not good enough or they're getting released, kept them in the club's observation. And we had the same coaches at the academy would at least take a session or 2 at the development center every week. So the players still kept in touch. The coaches still observed those players. And if those players worked, they could work their way back in. And if you think about it mentally, the players that drop and come back in mentally, they're going to be quite strong, because they've had to deal with that sort of backward step. They've had to work and come back again. And that was great. So almost 2.5 seasons overall there. And then towards the 3rd season, managed to get a role as a consultant technical director for Sportyard, who was starting an academy program, again, aimed at players getting released, keeping them in the system, and then getting them out to clubs again. And obviously my role as an affiliate tutor then came back, and I did that a little bit more, working at Middlesex FA, delivering level 1 and 2 coaching courses, which I really love and I enjoy, because working with coaches, able to impact way more players. But again, I was at this stage where, okay, I was doing the courses. I was in Saudi Arabia in a very good role, in a very good role. I was earning very good money to probably retire at 50 if I wanted to stay there. But I was stagnating in my role. I didn't feel challenged. I didn't feel there was that next step up. So it became about, okay, so what next? And what next eventually became the FA Elite Mentee program last year. I say eventually because I applied for this role 3 times and I literally just gave up. Didn't want to apply again. And even when I came to the 4th time, I think I literally did it in the last day or the day before last, because I was in this frame of mind where I've applied, I've done it before, I'm not going to get it, etc. I just brought myself round to it and really thought, okay, why do I want this? Do I really want this? If you like, I'm earning good money here. Why do I want to go? This role actually is 50% of what I was earning abroad, if you like, on an annual occasion. But what I really wanted was to develop myself. Like I said, I was stagnating in that role. I was stagnating. I needed to progress. Having an A license, you can't just stop there. You know, you need to keep developing, and there's no better place to develop than England. In England with the FA, if you look at how many other countries now look at us. Back in the day, we'd look at, okay, the French won the World Cup 98. What are the French doing? Oh, the 2002, the Germans won it. What are the Germans doing? Oh, 2006, Italians won it. What are they doing? 2010, the Spanish win it. What are they doing? Now, since 2012, when we've had our England DNA, it's been about us. People look at us because we have quality education. We have a quality football environment. So at the end, that's what got me around to apply. And thankfully, I got it. And it was an amazing experience. And I'm very, very thankful that I got myself around to applying and convincing myself and having that support from my wife and the family to really apply as well. And also the sacrifice from the family to come back into a place where obviously we'd be on the grind again in London, and the salary doesn't quite just about covers your living expenses, etc. You can't really save. Coming back into that, but the sacrifice paid off, because England under 18 experience, you know, standing there with the flag and the national anthem versus Brazil in a national under 18 game, you know, learning from amazing coaches at that level, learning from amazing performance analysts at that level, physical coaches at that level, also getting opportunities to be on podcasts. And this was a highlight for me because the feedback I got from being on the grassroots football podcast, and that was fulfilling for me, because even though, I'm an A licensed coach, I'm with England under 18s, I started in grassroots. Everybody starts in grassroots. Harry Kane, Raheem Sterling started in grassroots. We have to keep the grassroots game going. We have to support the grassroots going, whether it is through that podcast, whether it is through the level 1 and 2 delivery, whether it's through speaking to coaches now and having an open door on LinkedIn, where if people contact me, I'm gonna chat with you. See if I can help you and you can help me. Brilliant, you know. So yeah, the feedback from that was great. I got a couple of people get in touch saying they heard it and inspired them, and that's really fulfilling for me. And also, it wasn't just about on the pitch experience. We got loads of off the pitch experiences, you know, media training, interview training, and I'm really grateful to the likes of Keith Daniel, who runs TMG media training. Top guy. I think he's got a channel on YouTube. He's definitely on LinkedIn, very active. But if you want to pick up interview tips, if you want to pick up presentation tips, if you want to pick up strategic communication tips, he's the guy that definitely helped us on this program at the FA. And I'm also thankful for the likes of Lucy Pearson and others throughout the program. Butch Fazal, who does an amazing job with diversity and inclusion in the game as well, and for the FA. This opportunity allowed me to eventually apply for a role at FIFA and get the role at FIFA. So currently my role is a high performance manager with FIFA on the Global Football Development Program. The team falls under Arsene Wenger's Chief of Global Football Development team, if you like, or sort of program. And the idea is to explore what different countries are doing to develop talent, to see what the talent pathways look like, to understand them, to really analyze them, to report back on them. And hopefully this time next year, you'll see a big report coming out from FIFA, which I and all of our team have contributed towards, to really understand how are people developing talent in all over the world. So from England to Holland and Germany, these European countries who have everything, to the likes of Algeria, who are producing the likes of Mahrez, and the likes of Cameroon, who are producing all these top internationals as well, you know. So we're trying to really understand, okay, what does talent development look like? What can different countries learn from each other? What can we as FIFA understand about the global game that we obviously govern and try to improve on a daily basis? And yeah, that's a lovely photo for me, very fulfilling, because being there in the FIFA headquarters, seeing the likes of pictures of Pelé and seeing the history of FIFA and learning more about football, and working with a quality team at the moment, which I'm learning so much from. Like the role, I love it because I learn more than I'm having to give in. I'm learning every day so much, whether it's working with colleagues or whether it's talking to international youth coaches or speaking to federation admin teams, etc. It's really quality in terms of how much learning I'm able to get. So yeah, that's the journey to date. I guess I'll pass it over back to you for any of the questions you had.
Oh, it's like I took a train for your life, Moaz. Amazing. I personally, this resonates and really sort of hits home for me more because, you know, I'm you know, when you look at your timeline, I'm sort of in a 18 to 23 journey. and I'm you know, I'm in the university part of your journey, and I'm trying to sort of excel the way you have done. And there's one thing that I've noticed when you were speaking about what you're doing is there's a fire, there's a little, I don't know what it is with you, but there's always something about you telling yourself, I want to improve. Where does that stem from, and why, you know, why do you keep thinking like that? Why is it that is part of your everyday?
I just get a buzz from the learning. So
Yeah.
when you want to improve, that means you need to add something to yourself. You need to learn, and that just gives me a buzz, because when I can learn something and then use it to impact whether it's myself or others, it gives me a buzz. I love that, and it's just that ability to learn and then improve and improve and improve. Because like I said, like with the situation in Saudi, I was earning a really good salary, housing was covered, my little boy was already attending sort of a private sort of educational establishment and things like that, and you think, okay, fine, but am I improving? Am I doing stuff that's gonna help me progress and help me help others progress? So yeah, I guess it just comes from that, and I guess maybe the upbringing I had, not always having what I wanted or what I needed, I guess, to progress. You always have that hunger. Okay, what if I learn this? What if I get on this course? What if I go on this experience? Where can that take me? Where can that help me take others as well?
I think one thing I've just noticed is it's when you were speaking about how you want to develop, how you want to just the buzz of wanting to improve every day, and you know, learning from others to impact other people. I think from me it looks like it comes from humility. It comes from you know, you being humble enough to actually say, yeah, you know what, I can learn something from everyone I come across. And that's something very refreshing to see, because at times we feel like, you know, we know a lot, you know, but then we look at a perspective, we look at something, and it humbles us, and it grounds us to sort of tell us, nah, you don't really know much about what's going on. You need to keep on learning. And what influences, or what sort of, you know, you could say motivators, you could say influences that actually impact how you think, how you act, how you behave, and how, you know, because when I think Moaz, I think, you know, I think humble, wanting to learn and wanting to improve, and just striving to get better every day. And I also think of you as a family man. What influences, what impacts that? What family, upbringing, religion, what is it?
Yeah, it's just a mixture, isn't it? I guess life experiences make you or shape you over time. And yeah, for sure, family is a massive influence. Your upbringing is a massive influence. I grew up in Sudan, and then I grew up a little bit in Syria. I had a couple of months in France, and then eventually, obviously, was here in the UK. So I guess from an early age, experiencing those different countries helped. I guess because I grew up having that open mind to other places and having wonderful memories of countries like Syria, which I'm very sad to see now the war ravaged ever since I was in uni, which is horrendous. But yeah, that definitely affects the life experience you have as you grow up, the family influence. And in terms of motivators, it's definitely the joy of improving, the joy of learning is a motivator. Money is also a motivator, like it is for lots of us. You need certain financial stability to be able to help yourself and help those around you as well. Family is definitely a motivator now. Like I mentioned, almost changing the career trajectory. You know, when you get a little one and you have to think stability. You know, you can't be, because football's so insecure. You know, you could be in a job this season, out of the job next. When you think top level managers, they could be in one, and then 3 months later they're out of one. So not only does those things impact you financially when you lose it, but it impacts you mentally as well. So yeah, you grow and you learn from experiences, and I think having those experiences abroad really helped me. I saw so many things. It made me more grateful for what I have and what we have. It made me see different perspectives, because unfortunately you can get trapped in your own perspective or the perspective of those around you or the society you're in, and you can easily forget about others. But what we need to understand now is what I do now might impact someone else. You look at the pandemic now, like it's a virus that started in a certain city,
Yeah.
hundreds of millions and hundreds of thousands of miles away, but it's affected everybody globally. All right, if I was to throw away some plastic litter, it might mean nothing to me in the UK because I think, okay, it might be getting recycled, or whatever, but it does mean for something for someone else in a country where my plastic litter that I threw is getting chucked in their backyard, is getting chucked in their surroundings. So we have to remember that what we do as individuals, as a family, as a community will impact other societies, does impact other societies, and will eventually impact us in return as well. So having that understanding, I guess, of look, what you do does go around, come around. Not even that karma aspect, but it's just thinking we live in a global village now. That's the best way, I guess, to describe it. In terms of going back to that learning aspect, I've got this motto now where I want to develop myself to help others develop, because I truly believe that helping others develop will in turn help me develop.
So that's it.
That's the key.
That's it. Because I've for the past few months taken, obviously this year, like all of 2020 was a bit of a, it's a year where you've had the most time for yourself. So it's a time of, for me, it was a year of reflection and really questioning what I'm doing. That's what I've really been doing. Like, I started coaching because of, tactics and whatnot, but I got heavily interested in the human side of it. Once I started to sort of actually interact with kids and see the effect of how I speak to them, how I interact, what I say, what I do, they like I've had comments from, like, one time a kid came up to me, he's like, "You're just the best." He's like, "You're the best." I'm like, "Rah, what?" Wait, I didn't hear you. What did you say? He's like, "You're the best." I'm like, "Rah, okay. I'll speak to you after." Rah, like, someone, he just came up to you out of nowhere and just said, "Yeah, you're the best." I'm like, "Wow." And that, I don't think I'll ever forget that. And I think that is what now makes me so much more captivated in coaching. I think, yeah, with you, for me personally, I think what's made me sort of so into the human side is religion. I've taken a deep interest into it. Like, I don't really, I don't pray 5 times a day, as I try to, but it's difficult. I'm trying to start reading whatnot, trying to start reading Quran and whatnot, but I know for a fact that it can influence my life positively. And the reason why it will influence my life positively is because it will influence others directly. Everyone around me, once they see that, I'm taking a path that is more meaningful than just a career, I think they'll start to look at that and think, yeah, that's the way. How big of a role does religion play in your job, in your life? Because I know you're a Muslim, and every time, like, you say Assalamu alaikum to me, I say hi. I'm like, "Rah, he said Assalamu alaikum," so I have to reply with alaikum assalam. So it's giving me good habits, and it's cutting off the bad ones. But how does it play into your everyday life and your job and what you do? How do you sort of balance that?
Yeah, I'm very thankful. Firstly, I was born into it and grew up with it as well. And even here in the UK, being able to practice it freely, it's played a huge role. And I'm thankful I found it, because like I said to you earlier, my mother tongue's Arabic. I grew up reading and writing it and speaking it fully. I always kept the ability to speak, but over the years, I lost the ability to read and write it because I just lost touch with it. It wasn't until I got to uni where I started finding that again and really getting closer to God again, and managed to thankfully learn to read Arabic again. And that obviously then enables me to read the Quran and understand it. Now, don't get me wrong, I was able to read the translation version of it in English and understand, and I still do today to help me understand even more. But it was being able to get in touch back with God's book that's very important. And I was lucky; I had some good influences around me, good friends all the way back from high school. And I remember one of my friends, since high school I knew him, but really lost touch. But then we got back in touch again. just before I was going uni, and he gave me this stuff from Brian Tracy, if you've ever heard of him. So Brian Tracy is a massive American goal setting type of person. So he gave me the workbook and like the audio sets. I went through it, and it was all about setting goals and working towards your goals. And ever since I got into that, and at the time I was obviously getting closer, I set my goals. So my goals were to be a technical director of a nation, or be a head youth team coach, or an assistant first team international coach in the next 25 years at the time. That was 10 years ago. I've still got 15 years to go towards it. That was one of the main goals. But the ultimate goal for me was to receive the book in my right hand. And whenever I do anything of my other goals, I always look at the ultimate goal. What was the ultimate goal? It's to receive the book in my right hand. Okay, so that branches into so many things, because there's so many ways you can work towards getting that sort of, if you like, that eternal life afterwards. Because obviously we believe that this life is a station that we bypass, and we're working towards the afterlife. So having that goal there allowed me to keep in touch with it. And so every time I visit my goal tree from 10 years ago, okay, I'm working towards my football career, but I'm also working towards my afterlife.
Sort of explain what that means, because some people may not know what receiving a book in their right hand means.
Yeah, so when we get on the day of judgment, obviously, if your book of deeds comes to your right hand, you're going to a good place. If it doesn't, then unfortunately you're in trouble. Well, trouble is a light word to use, but yeah. So that's what it's about. It's about what all the good things that you're doing now that are going to fill that book with good stuff. So you get it on your right hand more than it does with bad stuff. Because bad stuff on a daily basis, hourly basis. So yeah, that's what it basically means.
I think one thing that I've sort of noticed with you, and one thing that really, gravitates me to your journey, is your intentions. That's what really gets me, inspired and going, because people, like, that's what I'm saying. I was someone who really was caring about wanting to be the best coach there is, and knowing about everything, and being the sort of the master of all trades. And obviously I still want to be master of all trades, but it was number one for me, and it was paramount. And if I was comparing myself to other people, and so, why am I not like them? They're better than me. I think my intentions in terms of my career wasn't pure. It wasn't clean. It wasn't something that would, it wasn't something that would benefit me and not harm others. If you have a principle, if you have a value, if you have a belief, then that you can have a value, a belief, or a principle, but the moment it harms someone else, it becomes evil. It becomes something that you should sort of stay away from. I think that's one thing I've learned with yourself, because you've kept pure intentions throughout your journey, which is amazing to see. Tell me, so let's go back to your journey, the timeline that you put on your presentation. So you look at yourself pre-18, you look at yourself now, and then you look at yourself, whenever in the future, 10, 15, however you want to look at it, 20 years, 50 years from now, inshallah, if God gives you the life for 50 years more. What are you, what do you think from 18 to now and then later? How have you changed, and what change do you want to make in the future?
Yeah, good question. So looking back, very, very content with the experiences I've had, very happy with being able to have had those experiences, very, very fortunate, and also feel that it's helped me be a better person overall as well. It's helped guide me. It's helped, like I said before, give me perspective on global aspects, not just see this small bubble that I'm in, if you like.
Yeah.
In terms of now, I feel really blessed to be working for FIFA and having that badge after having the FA badge last year, and being able to obviously, hopefully, impact global football development. That is huge. Like I said to you, I came back to be a coach developer because I could impact more players. Now I'm able to potentially impact global development, which is it's an immense feeling to be able to contribute to global global development in general, but the fact that it's also football my love is even better, you know. So yeah, looking forward, like I said to you, my goal is to get to that technical director role of a nation, to get to that youth head coach international level, or be that assistant senior manager. It doesn't matter to me what nation. Obviously, if it's England, if it's Sudan, amazing. I'll be so chuffed. It will be an absolute honor and dream. But regardless of what it is to lead a nation, to be that influential footballing person for the responsible development of football in that nation is something I aspire to get to, and I've got 15 more years to go on it. Hopefully I've given myself enough time, but it's just about keeping developing, keep connecting with people, keep exploring opportunities, and I guess developing myself in other ways, because I'm talking about technical director role here. You need other skills. You can't just have the A license. You can't just have the strategic communications. You need your higher degrees. You need your better connections. You need your capability to understand different things. So yeah, lately, like you said, the pandemic's given us a lot of time. I've done a lot of online courses. LinkedIn Learning is great because you can also post your stuff as well, so people have a look at what you're doing. And I've done stuff from learning about how to use Excel properly to marketing, digital marketing, to going back to basics with scouting and revisiting coaching courses, to performance and mindset programs, which I'm doing now as well. And these are really great because they keep me going, and they remind me of what was sort of some of the stuff maybe I've done before.
Have you lost me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Right, give me a sec. No,
there we go. You're on.
Okay.
That's just
what was that? One thing that really popped up to me just now is the importance of principles, importance of like having a set of values that you live by. How important is that in your life? And for me personally, I think one thing that really sort of stands out for me is, I can be wherever I am in the world. I can be rich or poor. I can be, wearing the most expensive clothes, or wearing the most rugged clothes. I can be here in England, or here, or back in a war zone in in Iraq, or wherever. I can be in the worst conditions, but my set of principles, my set of values don't change. I stand up, so I stand for what I stand for. I am who I am. How, that's something that I've sort of clocked onto very recently. Like when I've questioned what I'm doing, when I'm questioning my coaching, like, am I standing up for something? Do I represent someone? Do I represent people? Do I represent what I'm doing? And that stemmed from getting more education within my religion, within the most inspirational people that I've stood up for, against injustice and whatnot. I look at that as, because no matter where I am, that's what I'm going to stand for. That's what I'll believe in. I don't care if I'm rich or poor. I care about whether, when people think of me, do they think of me as someone who represents a certain thing? That's what obviously, we don't really want to, live our lives by other people's opinions. But I think that is what really, sort of resonates with me. I think it goes deeper to actually, caring about what, God thinks of you as well, and how he would think of you, if you're put in this situation compared to that situation. Would your attitude change? If all my money in my account was taken out today, given that it's not that much, I wouldn't really care. I wouldn't really, obviously I'll chase up on it, see where it's from, but it's not something that I'll, throw myself into depression and anxiety for, because it doesn't matter, doesn't contribute to my value on this earth. So what makes you sort of, is it religion as well? Is it other things as well as family?
So yeah,
principles.
Values obviously they guide you, they guide the decisions you make, they guide the life choices you make. So certainly, like I said, having that ultimate goal being to get the book in the right hand really helps. So like when I do stuff like, for example, if I'm going to read a book to develop myself, if I'm going to finish that book, I have to make sure I also finish the Quran. So sometimes that stops me from reading books because I have to match them. But what it does is it keeps me grounded to that, it keeps me grounded to that target, to that ultimate aim. It keeps me grounded to the values that help. And reading that Quran, it helps you because there's a lot of solutions in there for life problems. The only issue is we don't read it enough. You know,
Yeah.
we go to someone else and get their opinion. Maybe they're not an expert, maybe they don't understand the situation, but when you read and you really read for understanding, and that's the key. So one of the best things I learned when I was going for my PGC and I was teaching at the school in Bizac was I was helping the English department, and we used to help the kids with learning, with reading. So what they used to say was, if a kid is reading a book and they say they get to page 18 of that chapter, and they read a line, and in that line or in that sentence there's a word they didn't understand. If that kid then keeps reading on till the end of the chapter, say page 36, everything they've read from 1 to 18 is good, it's in there, it's restored quite well. Everything from 18 to 36, when they bypass the word that they didn't understand, doesn't ingrain as much as the previous stuff. So what the advice was, whenever you reach to a word or a sentence you don't understand those words, stop reading, get the dictionary, understand what the word means, then go back and read, then continue, because then it ingrains and your understanding is better. So it's not just reading, because especially those that have Arabic as a mother tongue, it's easy just to get it and read through it, and you could probably finish it in a month, you know, because your reading is so natural and whatever. But it's not about just finishing it, it's about understanding it, it's about taking something out of it and implementing that to help yourself, to help others, implement it to help society. Because that's what it's about. It's about reading and understanding, and then that guides your values, that makes you better, because it's a book. What could be better? You know, if I was to write a book or a novel, or other people write a book, there's always going to be imperfections. But when it's a book from the one God that there is, and it's something that you go with, and when you understand it, it's great, because you can apply it towards your values, and it gives you almost a guiding and a path, if you like.
That massive insight. I'm happy that you know you've come on and you've really sort of not only opened my eyes and my mind up, but everyone that's watching, about the values and the things that should be considered when going about what you're doing. Anyone can have their own grind, their own sort of career path. That's absolutely fine, and it's actually good to see a variation and a diversity in careers. But the question of the whole channel, the whole page is, what's your purpose? What is it other than your career? Because your career will be met, it will be done. What's after that? And what are you living to day by day? What are you abiding to no matter where you are? So very, very insightful. I'm really happy that you've come on. I do wish you come on later on again, to provide everyone that's watching with much more knowledge. But yeah, thank you so much, Moaz. It's been a real pleasure. Any last words, any last advice?
Thank you. It's been my pleasure as well. And I hope it's useful in some sort of way to anyone who watches. And great work what you're doing, because you know what? We need to sort of really look back and understand our purposes. I love what you said at the end there about what is it beyond your career. So people talk about a work-life balance. No, it's a life-work balance. We'll talk about, okay, what are you striving for? Are you striving to get to a certain level? Okay, what about everything else? Because work is only so much part of it, what we do. And I'm thankful I'm doing something that I love. I'm coaching football, I'm out there every day, I'm working for FIFA, etc. But what is it beyond that as well? So no, really great final comment from you there. And again, thanks for having me on. Good luck with your project.
I'm so excited, because people are going to watch this and are going to take so much in it. So thank you for your time. Thank you to everyone that's watching. I'll add all the social medias relevant to me and Moaz. Again, thank you for watching, and hopefully you can have a nice evening watching this video, chilling with some food and some drinks. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later. Oh, Moaz, man. That was amazing. I'm so happy.